All right, so hustle culture is dead and average is underrated. People are no longer disillusioned by false promises of the past. Things like if you work hard, then all your dreams will come true. It's not working anymore, it's not cutting it. People are understanding now that hard work is not the missing link, the hidden variable, the secret sauce. When you work hard, you're typically just getting exploited, right? Hard work does not guarantee success, but people still desire success. The first video on my channel, I talked about financial nihilism. People have a bleak, non-optimistic outlook on their economic future, though they still strive to experience some material success. So then they start gambling, doing prediction markets, all these other things. High risk, high reward. It's not about working hard, it's about taking chances. And then it's this binary of all in or nothing, win or lose, heads or tails. And it's not that simple. And all of this is to bypass or just kind of leaves average out of the conversation. But averages are important, especially when we're talking about long-term success. So let's talk about exceptionalism a little bit more. When I work with clients, there's this joke amongst a diverse range of clients. They all kind of say similar things. Well, if things don't work out, I'll just start streaming. There's kids making millions of dollars online just from streaming. A bit more of my edgier clients might be like, oh, if this doesn't work out, I'll just set up an OnlyFans account. If you're not familiar with OnlyFans, at this point, the website exists to platform independent producers of porn. You can make your own porn. You can go as softcore, as hardcore as you want. When I'm talking to people in the office, a lot of them are joking about, yeah, I'll just get on camera and show my feet and people will subscribe to look at it. Works for some. It's not going to work for everyone. So if all else hits the fan, don't think you can just put your toes on the internet as if all you need is a camera, Wi-Fi, and a can-do spirit. It's a bit more complicated than that. Real life experience, my experience, not that rare. I grew up in the rural South of America, played sports with a lot of kids. I was not an exceptional athlete, but I grew up with talented, athletic kids, right? Some of those kids got scholarships into D1 universities. And many of those kids did not go pro, right? Just a very small percentage make it into the pros, into the league, in good form. But this idea of, over leveraging, taking a lot of chance and trying to put yourself in position just for the chance to win. Listen, I think by looking at sports, all the way, if we're talking like basketball, like AAU, like kids, then you get into the college thing. And it's like these sports is a commitment. It's not like something you're just doing to pass the time. Like there are institutional structures, there's infrastructure around this. And the pressure that these kids undergo just for a chance to go pro. It's a lot of pressure, right? Seen it happen to a lot of them. And then when it doesn't pan out the way they want it to, it can get pretty dark, right? You got to make it through that thing because you invested so much. You worked so hard and you didn't get the return that you desired. Now, me, sports, football, basketball, those weren't my sports in particular. But I could rap, though. Don't sleep on it. I could rap. All right. But I like talking about sports because there's more infrastructure for it. For example, kids weren't getting scholarships to universities because they had a fire mixtape. And I'm still seething about that. No, I'm playing. But so, real life example of like pursuing exceptionalism for economic advancement. And if it doesn't turn out the way in which you want it to, how do you recover from that? Can you recover from that? So I use the sports thing as an example. We talked about streaming online. We talked about OnlyFans. But I'm talking about these things because, you know, there's this idea that you want to make it big. You're trying to strive for something big. But I feel like culturally, there's not enough conversations around the power of average, right? Because if you pursue average returns over the course of a long amount of time, decades, you will get great results. But average is often undervalued. It's considered boring. It's not discussed enough, right? If you're dealing with any financial professional and you're trying to set up a retirement account, you're looking to get average returns over the course of decades, and the investment strategy you'll be using is called dollar cost averaging. So you'll be putting in a fixed amount of money on a consistent, predictable time period, maybe like a fixed amount of money every month into the markets, regardless if it goes up or down. But the average returns over time, typically always positive, especially if we're talking like S&P 500 index funds. I could get into the technicalities of this stuff in another video, but I'm talking about the mindset and the attitude right now of the value of pursuing average over the course of time. Don't sleep on average is really what I'm saying. All right? Because this is so much more than money as well. Consistently investing in relationships, in your craft, whatever the case is, not taking too much chance, but just taking little chances on a consistent basis. And you'll just see the improvements compound over time. And when I say over time, I'm talking 10, 20, 30 years, right? I mean, we could scale it back. You can see a difference in 5 years, but it really that curve really shoots up when we start hitting that 20, 30-year mark. If you could make it to the 40-year mark, absolutely. And so with a lot of this, I'm talking about being in it for the long run, right? Now, one of the kickbacks I get often, especially when talking to people about retirement investing, is why would I wait that long to experience my best life? Reasonable question. But I think we need to separate living your best life from having millions of dollars in your bank account. You can live your best life right now. You might need to change your value structures and how you approach things, but typically we're going to stop viewing money as an obstacle and viewing it as a tool. Now, I'm not saying that you could apply this perspective to all of your issues, but typically there are workarounds, and we don't let money get in the way of what it is we're trying to experience. We have to generate that value independent of the money. I'll give you a very elementary example, and I hope this resonates. But if you started a business and you're trying to scale it to a larger business, you go to investors. You don't go to investors with just an idea and hope to get a bunch of money from them so you can then turn it into something. No, you already have proof of concept. It's already working. You're just trying to expand it to work more. So you've already generated the value, and now you're looking to get money so you can scale it out to a much bigger operation. I hope this example is coming through clear. Like, the value's already been generated independent of the investors. But by the time the investors come in, you use that money as a tool to scale it out. So let's bring this to life. You lean in and capitalize on the things that you find true value and joy in, independent of money. And if you feel like you cannot experience joy or peace or any of that without the money, hey, you need to rewire and restructure your priorities, because you're kind of missing the point here. But the more you can lean into those things, then there's just a compounding effect that goes along with it. You're less needy. People want to be around that. People want to be around it. People, resources come, and it's a whole other thing. But to stay on topic, you don't have to sacrifice your best life so you can be a multimillionaire in the future. No, absolutely live your best life now. I probably make videos talking about how to maximize on your values independent of money. That way you can just use money as a tool so it could compound into the future, so you could enhance your lifestyle a little bit more, possibly. But average, don't sleep on it. A lot of power in averages. If you found any value in this video, make sure to hit the like button, comment, subscribe. It really helps out. My name is D Hall.